All right. Ladies and gentlemen, really excited about today's show. Welcome to the 31st ever episode of the Failing Success in Multifamily Show, a podcast where we appreciate, discuss, and reflect on the setbacks real estate investors have had leading up to their success. Today, I have the absolute honor to have the investing power couple, Lorie and Mike. And forgive me if I'm not saying that correctly, Corica?
Corica,
Corica.
you got it.
Yep.
Corica. Appreciate you guys.
Close enough.
Uh, Lorie and Mike Corica on as guests. Once teachers with the vision of taking control of their lives and finances, in 2012, they made a bold decision to leave teaching and jump into the world of house flipping. Since then, they have flipped hundreds of homes, owned many short-term rentals, and built a portfolio of rental properties in Florida. But it wasn't all smooth sailing. In this episode, they will share how they turned around a neglected, drug-infested apartment building in Moss Point, Mississippi, and another challenging property outside of Oklahoma City. Now, I believe the property in Oklahoma City is one that you're currently in the process of purchasing, or you've already purchased, correct?
It's already purchased and I would call it repositioned at this point. So now we're waiting for a couple of months of good financials so we can pull our money out and refinance it.
Beautiful. So just like you heard it, these experiences taught them the value of passive income and the importance of investing in the multifamily properties. Now they have completely transitioned out of flipping and are laser focused on building their net worth and passive income through multifamily investing. With the guidance of their mentors and education, they're well on the way to acquire 1,000 doors in 2023. Tune in to learn from their journey and gain insights on how to build generational wealth through real estate investing. Now, I'm sure that behind all of their success is sacrifice, dedication, and a whole lot of hard work. So I can't wait for you all to hear their journey, their successes, but most of all, and the reason why we're all here today, their failures as they continue to reach their goals within multifamily. Lorie and Mike, welcome to the show, friends.
Thank you so much for having us.
Thank you. Indeed.
Really excited to dive into both of your story. And I have to say, this is the first time that we've had two guests on at the same time. And this is the first time that we're having two couples on at the same time who invest in real estate. So really excited about this as well. And frankly, I think I did a pretty poor job at, introducing you guys. So please, if you don't mind, let us know who Lorie and Mike are.
Well, we're actually in the same house, but her background's better than mine. So she's in another room, but go ahead.
This is where I'm going to be in a few years. Yeah. This will be my office in a few years. No, you did a great job of introducing us, Tinny. We were, we came from the mindset of go to college, get a job, work 9 to 5, work for the man, put your kid, raise your kids the same way. And in 2012, I guess everything kind of came to a head when we just couldn't take it anymore. I couldn't take it anymore. I think Mike hadn't been teaching as long as I had, and we were both really happy in the job until when you have a certain personality that needs growth and change, and you're getting your creativity and the things that you're born with, they're getting kind of squashed. You need to make a change. So I think what happened with me is I just felt like I'd hit the end of the road there. I needed a change. So Mike had been in real estate before, and we were familiar with how you can kind of create your own destiny and how much money you want to make through real estate. And we just decided, I think we're at the end of the road here and let's start a new chapter. So that's what we did.
I love it.
I always joke that our real estate income and activities supported our teaching career because even back then, I look back, we owned rental properties. We purchased an avocado grove with a house on it that we made a whole bunch of money on, accidentally just through real estate investing. So we were always doing it, but we didn't really think of ourselves as professionals. We just did it. And, our teaching salaries were enough to, in California, barely survive, but, we were able to thrive because of real estate investing. We didn't even think about it at the time.
Wow. Really, really interesting. So talk me through how you came to the realization that, the real estate route, right? Because at the time, as you mentioned, it felt more so like like a side hustle, right? Like it wasn't so much like you didn't feel like this is something that you could do full time. But talk to me about, why you eventually decided to go into it full time, because you could have easily, you know, stayed on the track that you were on as educators, as teachers. But why did you eventually made the decision to quit your jobs and go into it full time? And was that an easy decision, or was it, like, did it take you some time to, you know, um, make the leap?
Well, I can tell you my side of it. Lori's side of it was, I think the job was, weighing on her pretty heavily. And again, it was not her, that eventually, when you have a certain personality and being told where to be, when to be, how to be, exactly at what time to be is difficult for a lot of people. I loved the job, because I felt like I was giving back. However, it was, kind of a time in our lives. We were coming off the, 2008, 2009 disaster where, we'd lost a lot of money. A lot of people had lost a lot of money. Confidence in real estate was low, but, people around us kind of, I don't want to say told us to, but encouraged us. You guys built your own house. You've remodeled, many houses. You have such great eye for things. Why don't you guys flip houses? And so, we just made, we've always kind of jumped first and built the parachute on the way down. So that, 2012 came, we did it. Lorie wanted to quit her job. So I'm like, okay, well, we'll go buy a house tomorrow. So I went out and spent about a week looking at houses and bought a hoarder house. And then we bought the house next door, a week later. And we didn't just flip one house. We decided to flip two houses. And that's, then Lorie quit her job the next year. So it was, leap first and ask questions later kind of a thing, unfortunately.
I love it, and frankly, I relate so much to your risk tolerance, because I feel like I'm the same way as well. I built my parachute um, on the way down after taking the leap, but I think that a lot of these decisions comes with calculated risks, right? Which I'm sure that you had before making that decision. And I love the fact that you started out, you know, really betting on yourself, right? Betting on yourself, knowing that you came to the realization that you wanted more out of life and that you wanted to take control of your time. So I absolutely love the fact that you started out flipping, and you both spearheaded that decision. Um, so what was that experience like, right? As far as, now you're in it, right? Talk to me about, how you were able to essentially build the team that you needed to now flip those homes, because I think that's an important question that's going to lead us into how you eventually got into multifamily.
Well, slowly but surely, we kind of built up our team. We hired some people to do our first few houses. We fired them, hired some other folks. Over time, we ended up getting a really good crew. We had one house that we didn't really make much money on, but we ended up, some of the crew from the contractor that we hired, the contractor wasn't paying them. So they saw we were paying our guy really, every Friday, and, like clockwork. So they kind of came to us, and we kind of formed a dream team there, and, did pretty well for a number of years in San Diego, in the San Diego market. And then, as time went on, we joined a mastermind and, became more educated on what we didn't know, because, when you're in it, you're in the foxhole, if you will, and you're doing it. You have your people in your foxhole with you, but you're in your little foxhole. You don't know what the whole rest of the war is doing. And
yeah, 100%.
yeah, and so once we joined a mastermind, we saw what was possible. And when us a husband and wife got up there and said they flipped 200 homes that year, we were like, my first response was, that's bullshit. There's no way they're flipping 200 homes a year.
That would have been my reaction as well, to be honest.
And then we got to know them, and it's like, yeah, they were, some of them were wholesale, some of them were flips, whatever. And we're like, wow, our mindset is holding us back. We were doing, I think our best year we did like 15 or something. And it was really hard to get that many done in 1 year and all that. So mindset was kind of the first shift for us, I think, in that.
Love it. Absolutely love it. I mean, I'm just impressed by the amount of clear vision that you and Lorie both have. I mean, it's impressive to know exactly. It's one. It's hard to know exactly what you want out of life, but that's actually the easy part. The hardest part is executing, right? And having a clear vision to know where you're going. And it sounds like you both had that from the get-go. And I really, really applaud the both of you, because I mean, that's really impressive. And to see how far you've come from single family homes to now buying larger assets, I mean, the scale is amazing. And as you know, it took you having a team to figure out how to flip single family homes to now you are able to now you figured out that it takes a team to tackle these multifamily assets. So walk me through the the steps and the process that it took to now begin building out your multifamily portfolio. Because as you know, in our industry, it takes a lot of, it takes networking, it takes, valuable relationships to tackle these larger assets. How was that transition for you from single family homes, right, and the team that you had there, to multifamily assets and building that team? How was that for you?
You want to answer that one, Laura?
Well, I mean, I love the fact that you said that we had a clear vision, and that was very sweet. We kind of started with, we didn't really have a clear vision about how we were going to get into multifamily. It's kind of like Mike's personality is, like he described, like a daredevil. Like he's just gonna go for something, and he knows that it's gonna work out. We're gonna make it work out, and I have that faith in him that he, he'll usually come up with a big idea, and I believe in him in all of our lives. I mean, when we stopped teaching, it was because, I believed in him, and I knew that he understood real estate, and I knew that I had a passion for it too, and that we would be a great team. I knew that. And so, all through this journey, we've had that confidence in each other, and we know each other's strengths and weaknesses, and we try to, support each other in that. But I think what happened with the multifamily was, he's a deal junkie, and he saw this great seller financing deal, and it was inexpensive to get into it. It was a seller carry, and he just looked at it like another flip, even though it was in a different state that we had never been to. We knew nothing about the area. He's like, yeah, it's close to the beach. How bad can it be? Well, it was in, Mississippi.
That's not actually how it went down, but
that's how I remember it. And so, that was about, I don't know, 5 or 6 years into our flipping career, I guess. And I just kind of went along with it, not really paying that much attention as I should have. But I trusted him and believed in him. Well, that's kind of how we transitioned into multifamily. Was a great deal that Mike saw. He just ran the numbers. He saw the potential, and he had a plan on how we were going to get there. And that's how I remember it. And then I became involved when we can talk about that, how that was a fail and turned into
this is
success
the
later.
the podcast failing to success. So
Right.
this is a perfect story.
Yeah, 100%. Failing to success in multifamily, where we encourage failure, because as we know, yeah,
That's a launch pad. Yeah.
So can I talk about the failure? Because that's
100%, 100%. Yeah. Let's jump into the second segment of our show here, where we actually talk about a specific deal. So give us a breakdown of what the deal looks like, how you found it, what the rehab plan and exit strategy were, and what you learned from it.
So I think I found it on Facebook.
Yeah.
I was in a few Facebook groups for flipping, and this person had it, threw it up like as a post, and I responded, and we connected. And so the deal was 32 doors. It was an owner finance deal at 50% occupied or something. And, the property itself is in a semi-rural area, but, pretty nice area, pretty nice neighborhood. What we came to find out was it was probably the reason that most of the neighbors were not happy with the neighborhood is this apartment complex. It was, it had a gang that kind of semi-controlled it, in some of the vacant units, people would go in there and do drugs or whatever. And anyways, so we hired a property manager who, by all accounts, was really great. The exit plan was obviously rehab, fix, rent, stabilize, refinance. That was the plan. We hired a property manager who had a husband who was a contractor. We were going to pay him to rehab the units. She was going to manage them. Well, the short version is that she basically was putting people in there for cash and not paying us. So she this person embezzled. We'll never really know the total, but it was probably about $50,000 or so, whatever, just a pretty big hit. The good news is we learned a lot. We learned what not to do. We learned, we only let it go on for a few months. So, we were smart enough to realize things weren't adding up, and got rid of her, tried to prosecute her, but the laws in Mississippi, don't get me started on that. But so we ended up getting some capital, borrowing some money to do the rehab.
Took on a partner. Yeah.
Took on a very small partner who injected some capital. We repositioned, or we remodeled the units. It took us about 6 months or so to get all of them done. And then from there, probably 2 years into the project, we finally got our refinance that pulled all of our capital back out and recovered. We recovered from that, and now it's stabilized and cash flowing. Beautiful. So it was a serious learning lesson, but not all was bad. We learned what not to do, and how much time do you have? I could go on for days on things that we did wrong. So,
but I absolutely love it, right? And thank you so much for being vulnerable and letting us know what went wrong with this deal, because I feel like a lot of the time, we live in a world where people glorify their successes all the time, which there's nothing wrong with that. But I think most of the value comes from the challenges that you went through and how you got over them, right? And I'd love to know, from a bullet point standpoint, what did you learn the most out of this deal? But before we get there, real estate, the reason why I love real estate so much is it's so forgiving, right? It is so forgiving at the end of the day. And I love how you came out on top, and you still own it, right? Still own it, cash flowing. I love it, right? So you went through the headaches, through the mud, and you still came out on top. So give me 2 or 3 bullet points of what you learned the most from this deal that you will never do again?
I can start, and Mike, if I can give one or two, and Mike, if you want to jump in. But I think the first thing that I would never do again is you have to do your due diligence and know what you're doing. And you have to really do your homework about the area, about the building, about the class of the property and the neighborhood. And, just really know what you're getting into. And the second thing is, what we didn't know, Mike and I have always done everything ourselves in single family. We did everything. We ran our own crew. Mike found the deals. I did the designing, and you know what I mean? You do everything yourselves in single family. Well, we didn't understand. We didn't have the education and the knowledge base to know that you need to, that apartments or multifamily is a team sport. And so getting that partner in this was just the biggest opportunity. I mean, it was life-changing to bring him on as a partner, and he's a really good friend now. We want to do a lot more deals with him, but I think those were two really significant things that I learned. And Mike, you want to add to that?
There were so many great lessons. I mean, painful, but good. I mean, the due diligence part of things, don't look at it with rose-colored glasses. Look at it from the glasses, a quarter full. And what happens if that for sure was a lesson that we've never forgotten. Yeah. Also, people, Lorie alluded to this, people make the deal, and a real, what also saved us, like you said, forgiving, was we hired a local property manager who frankly took pity on us, I think, after hearing the first story. And she was a game changer. She was perfect for the tenant base. She got along well. She knew the neighborhood. She lived in the neighborhood. She was, really great with tenants. And so that was, the people part of life was great. So in what saved us. So, it's a team sport for sure. And, the due diligence part is also, something we'll never forget. And, we also learned a lot on the financing side on what you can come out with at the end. So yeah. And I could go on for days.
I bet. But I love these lessons, right? Because our listeners, right, and my listeners, have like very inexperienced so much, but I think like whether you're just getting started or whether you've been in this game for 20 years, I mean, these are valuable lessons, right? First of all, vetting, right? It's important to vet the markets, but it's important to vet the property manager, which frankly I'm now learning. And it's also important to just vet, right, like the business partners that you bring on, right, from a property manager standpoint, or the partners that you brought on, who you want to do more deals with. Vetting is key. Due diligence is key. And yeah, I mean, that's amazing lessons. I'm sure that our listeners are going to get a lot of value out of it. And I absolutely love that. So thank you guys so much for sharing these lessons here today. And I think this brings us to a great segment of our show, which is mindset, right? My question to you is, you've just from this deal alone, like I'm sure it took a lot of strength to get through it, right? Especially the first year. How did you keep yourself motivated, right, to get through these challenges that you encountered?
I read a really great book, The Obstacle is the Way. And like halfway through the book, I was still not understanding it fully. So if you want to read a great book, Obstacle is the Way. But it's like failure is just not an option, like we've always had that mentality. Our mindset is, we're going to just run over something if it's in the way. Like it's just not we're not going to give it strength or time or because you can make problem, like the other day, something came up. We had one of our, something, we had more vacancies than we thought on our other building. And we're like, that's not cool. And we started to kind of think about, make it into a bigger problem. And it was like, it's not a big problem. Like, don't give it, power, if you will. So I think that's, from a mindset standpoint, that's kind of how we go now. Like, it's not, it's not a big deal. We just solve it and move on to the next problem. Because, like real estate investing, if you're doing it because you think you're going to not have any problems, don't do that. Don't do it, because you're going to have problems come up every single day. And, you just don't give them too much power. Just, compare notes. And fortunately, I have a really smart woman in the other room that I can consult. So there's always that too. So.
Well, Grant Cardone or Tony Robbins, I forgot which one, says if you think that you're going to go through life without having problems, then you're not thinking big enough, because with big goals and big experiences come big problems, and that's just part of it. And you have to look at the problem as an opportunity, and figure out, how can I turn this around into something positive. But I think, with mindset, we've done a lot of work on mindset, but our like Mike says, if there's a problem that comes through, we're just gonna take it on and rip through it. We're not gonna let us take it down and take us down. But our word for last year, I think, was relentless. It's like, we're gonna do whatever it takes to get to where we want to be. And we started in multifamily later than we would have liked to, and so we're kind of on the fast track. We're just trying to get it. We're trying to expedite, get our goals accomplished sooner rather than later. And I think also what helps keep our mindset and helps us keep thinking big is the people that we're surrounding ourselves with. So, we're a member of 2 mastermind groups. And I think we, like Mike said earlier, we never thought that as big as we do now, because we weren't surrounding ourselves. We were just kind of like doing the flips on our own. And we weren't surrounding ourselves with mentors and people that had done bigger and better things than us. And now we're completely different. We're surrounding ourselves with people that are just doing great things, and that's making us better too. So, your mindset is going to shift when you're around people that are like-minded and taking problems head on and not letting them crush them, and learning strategies on how to tackle problems. It's just all like you said.
Yeah, such a good point. Yeah, no, such a good point, Lorie. And I'm going to second that because of the fact that, you just mentioned, right, the like one of the biggest mindset shifts from going to single family to tackling this deal in Mississippi was the fact that, it's a team sport, right? It's a team sport. And Mike, I'm definitely going to read The Obstacle Is the Way. I would recommend reading Who Not How. I'm not sure if y'all have read it before, but Who Not How is a great book that emphasizes just that, right? The power of togetherness allows you to go, 10x, right? Or even 20x. It just allows you to do way more and tackle way more problems without having to necessarily take on all of those by yourself. So I really appreciate the deep dive into both of your mindsets. And that just shows, that your goals of tackling 1,000 units is like that's y'all are going to blow through that. So thank you so much for unpacking that for us here today. Now let's jump into our final questions here, guys. I've had an amazing time getting to know the both of you. Final questions is, be selfish here. It's really just, emphasizing and highlighting what you're both working on, what you got what you got cooking, and what other value do you provide, right? As far as mentorship programs or, anything that you want to, bring forward, right? As far as coaching groups, things like that, as well as, who can help you get there, right? First question is, what are you cooking up for the rest of the year?
Well, I can start on that one. Our goal is to get 1,000 doors by the end of the year. So that would mean that we have to get 300 per quarter at least. And what we really need to do that is partners. And, Mike and I, like I said earlier, we're used to doing everything on our own. And so now is a time where we're trying to find people that are going to fit into our model. And we've learned through our mastermind group, that you got to keep in your own swim lane. And so, you got to find somebody that's really good at asset management, somebody that can run a CapEx team, run the construction, and then, the capital raiser. So I think that's our challenge for right now is how are we going to, who do we want to bring on as partners, and who, so that we can get to the 1,000 doors this year.
Love it.
And then 1,000 next, and then 1,000 next, and so on.
And y'all are climbing up. I love that.
The way I kind of look at it is that, like right now we have, I think, 100 doors under contract that'll close hopefully by the end of this quarter. So we'll be just shy of 300 for the quarter, which is, again, like, takes most of the fuel for the rocket to get off the pad, and the rest, whatever that analogy is. But, for us, we've had a lot of investors that we've helped that have helped us. So we're kind of in that mindset right now of educating them that, to lend to us at 10%, for 3, 4, 5, 6 months and on a flip house was great for you. However, in the multifamily space, the returns are actually a little higher. It's just a longer game. So we're in that space to kind of educate our partner investors who've been with us for years and years, have been really great to us, and we've been great to them. So we're also in the mindset of finding more financial partners who want to, take the journey with us and make great, safe returns. So that's kind of, we're in that build out process right now. We're having a lot of meetings and talking to people and helping them, see that, maybe the stock market isn't the best place to put their money, and why. And, I don't want to sound disingenuous when I talk to people about it, but, I firmly believe, whether they invest with us or anyone else, real estate is the place. Like, it's where you can make passive returns, and it's safe. It's a real thing. And, so that's kind of where we're headed. And yeah, I mean, I don't know about, 1,000 doors every year for the next 3 years, but, what the wife wants, usually the wife gets. So, talk to me in 3 years. We'll probably be 3,000 or 4,000 doors by then. And,
Absolutely love it. Absolutely love it. And I love the fact that you're converting your single family investors into multifamily, because you're right. I mean, multifamily provides much greater equity multiple. You have bonus depreciation that is oftentimes, a lot sweeter than in the single family home deals. It makes the most sense in multifamily to do that. As long as you still get, the cash flow, and you still get the appreciation. So I absolutely love the fact that you're converting your single family home investors to multifamily, because it just makes the most sense. And guys, for anybody listening, I mean, you've gotten to know Lorie and Mike here. I mean, they're operators. They're active in the business. They have the experience, and they will be able to provide you with great opportunities. So please reach out to them. And if you are a capital raiser, if you specialize in capital raising, please reach out to Mike and Lorie as well. They have great opportunities in the works, and clearly they have amazing goals and really attainable goals that you would be able to get into as well. And guys, final question is, if somebody wants to reach out to you, either to get to know you more or to invest with you, where can people connect with the both of you, the Rockstar team?
We're both on Facebook and Instagram, and then our website is www.blue-oceancapitalholdings.com. So I would say those are the best places to reach us. Mike, do you have any other places they can reach you?
Call me, text me. I answer my phone. That's, that's one thing that people say about me is, wait a minute, you just answered your phone. So I answer my phone if it's a toll-free number. It's probably, I didn't answer the one call I had while we were on, but so yeah, we're real people, and we're working hard every day for the next 2 years. And after that, I'm shutting it down.
Absolutely. And getting 3,000 doors in 2 years is going to take a lot of work, but obviously, working hard is something that that you're both used to. So I can't wait to hopefully invite you on the show again, and we're going to talk about how you exceeded your goals and expectations. And guys, I had an amazing time speaking to you today, and thank you again so much for being guests on the show, guys. It's been
Thanks for having us,
Mike and Lorie, power couple Corica, signing off.
All right.
Thank you, Tim.